So far, well, I forgot to record, but let me go through the pre-lab questions. So the first circuit we looked at was this circuit right here, and this is not the same circuit that you saw before. The other circuits had some circuitry here to separate the base voltages by 2 VB on, but this one's same wires connected to both bases, so they're not separated. Okay. And the first question was, if there's no current going out the output, what's the voltage on V out? And if there's no drop across RL, then V out is just whatever is on this side. And your reference voltage should be halfway between your high rail and your low rail. In this case, I have VCC and minus VCC, so I made that ground. That's in the middle. So if there's no current going through here, then V out is 0. And if you don't know what V out is on all of these questions, just assume that it's 0. And the first question was, if V in is 0, how much current is going through Q3? If you assume V out 0 and V in 0, then VBE is 0 and Q3 is in cutoff. Same thing for Q4. If V in is 0 and V out is 0, then VBE is 0 and it's in cutoff. If you raise V in high enough to turn Q3 on, now you've got current going through Q3, but there will be no current going through Q4. Since it's to turn Q4 on, it has to be a negative VB on. So if it goes to a positive VB on, Q4 gets turned off. And then if V in goes to a negative VB on, now Q3 is in cutoff and Q4 is conducting. So that's these questions here. And there's never a time that Q3 and Q4 are on at the same time. It's a class B output stage, which means there's a time, there's a gap, and there's a time where there's no time where both Q3 and Q4 are on, and there is a time where both are off. Okay, and then we went to the second circuit, and the job of this circuit, you can still use that approximation of V out being 0, but we're using these common collectors as level shifters. So remember, they have a bunch of names: emitter follower, impedance transformer, common collector. We're using this as a level shifter. And what happens is, if this is conducting from the base to the emitter here, that's about a VB on. So this shifts down. So V out low is V in shifted down by a VB on. And I flipped this, it's still a common collector, but it's a flipped common collector. So whatever V in is, it gets shifted up by a VB on, and that's V out high. So V out high is plus VB on, V out low is minus VB on. So now you have your 2 VB on difference between the bases. I'm talking fast because everybody's in the breakout room. And if you set V in equal to 0, then both Q3 and Q4 are on, because they both have a VB on to 0 across their base emitter terminals. Okay, and then so they're both on, and then if V in is less than 0, now what happens is, let's say V in is minus 0.1 and VB on is 0.7, then you have -1 plus 0.7 to get V out high. That's 0.6. But if you assume this as 0, which you'll see once you run the circuits, it won't be, but if you shift this up to a VB on, now you have a VB on across Q3, or you don't have a VB on across Q3 because that's 0.6. Q3 turns off, and since you're shifting down 0.7, now that's minus 0.8, and Q4 turns on. And I see people coming back, so I'm going to move back to the big window. Hi, I forgot to record, so I just did a speed presentation on that.
I figured, yeah.
Okay, sorry, I don't know how long you were there. All right.
We just got back.
Okay. So let me call the breakout rooms back, even if they're not done, so you can eventually get to the actually doing the lab.
I had a quick question. Just for this, you said for the V in, would it just be that we have basically the same out, like V out would look similar to V in, but there would be a crossover distortion?
Yes. So what I'm not sure how to have you all show the picture. I can highlight your group And you can show me, like, if you drew it on paper or something, just hold it up to the camera or something.
Oh, we did it on the breakout room, and then like we just exited. So,
Okay, so who has a drawing of their prediction? Who has a,
I put mine on the whiteboard.
okay. So 348. Do you remember which number whiteboard?
2.
Okay. On whiteboard 2. Okay. And ECC minus VB on. So this looks good to me. This looks good to me. What is this point right here where can you all see this?
yeah,
Okay. What is this point right here? Why does it suddenly start to follow?
because it's a VB on.
VB on. So V in finally hits VB on, and that turns on which, let's see if I can put that on the side. Yeah, so now V in goes up. Oh, whoops, wrong circuit. Oh, come on, mouse. You can do it, you can do it. There we go. Yeah, Q3 goes up to VB on, and now Q3 turns on. And this is how the push-pull works. When Q3 is on, like we said, Q4 is off. And if Q4 goes away, what is left? You have Vn going into Q3, Q3 going through a resistor to ground. What is that circuit? So if Q4 is gone, now Vn is going into the base of Q3, and then there's a resistor down to ground. What's that circuit?
Common collector.
It's a common collector. So if you turn Q4 off, this is just an NPN-based common collector. What about, so if you go a little bit farther over, then it's flat for a while. When does this turn on? When does it start going down? Whoops.
Minus VB on.
Yeah, when Vn is minus VB on. And now Q4 turns on, Q3 turns off. So now you have Vn going into the base of Q4 up through a resistor to ground. But notice that the bottom of Q4 is at minus VCC. So now ground is higher than VCC. So what's this circuit? Now you have Vn going into Q4, resistor up to ground. What's that circuit?
Emitter?
What's that?
A common emitter?
You've got input going into the base and output at the emitter, so it's a common collector still. But right idea, identifying it as an amplifier. So what this circuit is actually doing is going from this common collector to this common collector. It's just switching between the two common collectors. So it's starting to make like complete sense now, hopefully?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm sorry, I'm going to ask you, I cannot make you, to do 2 more. Okay. So let's do circuit number 2. It's the same input, but circuit number 2 is, we use the graph. Circuit number 2, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this over. This is supposed to be a, let's get rid of this. Oh, sorry, this is minus VCC. Almost did it again here. So this is a PNP-based common collector. VN still going directly to Q3, but now it's going through, shoot, that's a common emitter. Sorry, y'all. I'll get the hang of this. Okay, So now you've got a common collector. My bad. So now that you've got the hang of it, 4 minutes. Tell me what V out looks like now. And go ahead and if you're are the groups working? It's okay. Okay. So go to your groups and see if you can figure out what this waveform looks like. And then I'll call you back in 4 minutes.
Tina,
Hmm?
I'm kind of feeling under the weather these last couple of days. Is it okay if I hop off today and then I'll catch up by next Tuesday?
Okay. I'm recording right now, so it should be this. I'll put the video up. I'm sorry you're feeling bad. I hope
okay.
it's something that's not.
It's not. Yeah, it's
Okay.
more my stomach than anything. So
Okay. Well,
I'll catch up by next Tuesday.
but they said they actually say that the virus is happy in your intestines as it is in your lungs,
Oh, really?
but it doesn't. The majority of the time it doesn't go to your lungs if it's in your intestines.
Interesting. Well, hopefully not.
Yeah,
Fingers
hopefully
crossed.
not. Yeah.
But okay. Well, I'll talk to you next week then.
Okay. Take care of yourself.
Thank you.
Right.
Bye.
Oh. Okay. Did any of the people back? Did you use the whiteboard or?
I don't think we did.
Okay.
Oh, just kidding.
You did? Do you know which number?
Check 2.
Check 2. Ah, it's over there. Oh, oops. Haha. I have no idea how to search for what's been drawn. What's that mean? Nope. Okay. I should just share the. Does anybody have a drawing? Oops, I froze. Oh, there we go. Does anybody have a drawing that I could bring up for everybody to see?
Look at the whiteboard again, Tina.
Oh, okay. This is hard for me to figure out. Can you draw with another color? Let's see. So if we do like add the axis here. So that's your V in. And let's say that was bad. And let's say that's your 0. On top of that, maybe with a different color. How do you do colors on this? Palette. Can you draw what your V out looks like on top of this? And this is again for, where did I draw it? For this circuit. Okay. So let's see. One room hasn't come back. I'll call him back. Come on back. Okay. So what can you describe what's going on here?
Yeah, so we were saying that on the positive swing
Mhm.
of VN,
Mhm.
we're still going like 0 to positive VBE. Well, actually, I think we might have drawn it wrong. Let's see. We have from 0 to VBE on this leftmost NPN will not turn on, right?
The leftmost NPN. Are you talking about the common collector?
Yes, it's not. It should be. Can we label it like Q5 or something?
Okay. Remember, the common collectors are always on.
They're
These,
always on.
the level shifters never shut off. It's Q3 and Q4 that turn on and off. But the level shifters are always conducting and always wasting power.
Yes, yes. Okay, so between 0 and 0.7, we're gonna have Q4 turned on then.
0 and okay, up to here.
Right.
From 0 down, Q4 is on. So we're saying that on the positive cycle,
Okay.
it looks the same as before, where there's it at points from 0 to positive VBE on, there's nothing on V out, right?
Okay. Oh, whoops! I'm erasing now. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay. So you're saying that this goes over for a while and
yeah, and then at VBE on, it starts going up.
Okay.
And it's always VBE on below.
Okay.
The V in, right?
Okay.
And it's gonna hit V out's gonna hit 0 at the VBE on, and then it's gonna stay 0 until V in goes below 0. Right.
Whoops. On. Okay. All right. And then comes over here, and you said what happens here?
Right there, the common collector actually shifts V in down by VBE on. So Q4 will turn on all the time below 0 volts.
Okay, perfect. And so it exactly follows it.
Perfectly, yes, yeah.
Okay. So that looks good to me. questions on that? And then what if, so this has 1 VB on difference between the bases. What do you think happens if you put 2 VB on between the bases?
It just follows it perfectly.
Then it follows it perfectly. And that's your goal for the end of today. And that's going to be for our circuit. You have your common emitter with the active load, and then you connected that to a common collector. But that's going to be replaced with this circuit. And in 1 week, you'll have a complete op amp in theory. You just have the input stage to go. And then after that, we're just going to play. So 2 more weeks, this week and next week, and then you have a complete op amp. All right.
Professor, so are we're disassembling our previous circuit?
You're just, I would, if you have enough transistors, I'm thinking you might not, but the common collector you used last week, you already know that works. So you can use part of that. Turn that into this circuit. Turn that into, sorry, this circuit is kind of random. Turn that into, I'd like you to do, I'd like you to go through the steps, like do this circuit first and see if you got the waveform that you just drew, and then add a single level shifter. See if you get the waveform right here, and then add 2 level shifters and see if you get the nice curve following your input. And then if that happens, then you should just be able to connect that to your common emitter and it should work magically.
So are we going to be using the on transistors for all of these, for all 4 of these new transistors we're building?
I think you won't have enough unless you do.
Okay. Yeah, I just wasn't sure if we were taking apart that quad pack or if we were going to be using the 6 ones that we bought.
Yeah, use the 6 ones.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? And I'm sorry I talked so long, but hopefully the circuit makes perfect sense now. And like I said, this week and then next week we do the input stage, and then you have an op amp.
Do we still apply a capacitor with the VN to get rid of the DC bias or no?
Not on this circuit. Build this circuit separately and test it, and then you can just connect it to the output of your common emitter. So there's no AC coupling capacitor between the common emitter and the output stage. There's still a coupling capacitor into your common emitter. Okay, anything else? Is everyone okay with the big rooms that you have right now, or do you want me to put them into the smaller rooms again? If there's protests, send me a chat message. Okay, if you go step by step on this one, it's generally friendly. So be careful, go step by step, and it shouldn't give you as much trouble as some of the previous circuits, hopefully. All right, so I'll be here. Feel free to come on out and talk to me or call me into your rooms.
We just use random resistor values for the common collector in the RL.
I had another question quickly. This stage that we're building, this is the end stage, like the final stage that was the voltage.
Yeah, you built a common collector. That's a great output stage.
Okay.
But this one's just a little lower power on normal usage.
Of course.
So with what we keep with the old one, you want us to keep our whole biasing circuitry, right? Where we have the NPN and PNP mirror.
Yes.
But then you're saying that one's input, we put this circuit into that one's capacitor input, or?
No, this one for your common emitter. So last week you connected your common emitter to the common collector.
Oh, you mean the common emitter output stage we hooked
Yes.
up to our whole biasing circuitry.
Well, your common emitter has the biasing circuitry. And hopefully last week you had the output of your common emitter going to the input of your common collector.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, with that, okay.
Yeah, disconnect the wire from the common collector and put it into the push-pull.
Okay, so previously we had that one on semi NPN, so get rid of that guy and replace it with either part 1, part 2, or part 3 circuits. Okay. Well, like whichever one we're currently on, like out of the 3 that we just went over the waveforms. Is
Yeah,
what I mean.
and if you already have the NPN common collector working, use that as one of your level shifters.
Okay.
So you're 1/3 done. Were there any other questions? I know a bunch of people jumped into the breakout room already, but are there any other questions? Resistor size. RL 1K was working well for me. For the other resistors, whatever you were using on your common collector in the last lab, that's a good size to use. If you don't have, these are really forgiving. So if you don't have enough resistors, let's see, I'm forgetting how many of each you had. Parts. Okay, I lost my parts. Google parts list, there we go. So you had NPNs. So you'd like to have the 1K ohm on the output. Let me go check and see what Dr. Prodnov said, but 1K ohm for RL, and then just 2 of like resistors for the level shifters should do it. But I'll go check his values real quick. And I'll send that out when I find them. Max. Fadi said he likes, oops, let's see. Where is everybody? Hey, Fadi. Both Max and Darian, I think, left.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I don't know if you want to.
They're not in any breakout rooms?
Darian wasn't feeling well.
Okay.
And then Max just disappeared randomly. So either he lost his internet or.
He actually was having internet problems, so that is a possibility.
Okay. Yeah, he froze for a little while. It's like, Max. Do you want to go to another room then?
Sure.
You like Artie's group or?
Sure, yeah, that's fine.
We got Emil, Bruce group. We got Sean, Casey group, Maxime group. Got the Artie, Hannah, Janine group. You have a preference?
I guess the RT one.
Okay.